Hey folks, Matrix Reality here, just another quick video. Now, there's a lot of hyped up interest in the Antichrist, anti-Messiah, that's spoken of in Revelation, and also in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, when the Apostle Shaul Paul talks about the Antichrist. Now you got to remember one thing. He's a deceiver, and he's going to have supernatural powers, and he's also called the false prophet. Now, what the number one Christian stumbling block is, every Christian theologian, prophet, so-called pastor wants to name somebody in their time as being the Antichrist, okay? Well, that's a big mistake. And it started even in the days not long after Christ. And they were talking about Nero was the Antichrist because his number, the gematria of his letters in his name added up to 666 and so on. And they've done that. I mean, over time. And it's Clinton, now it's Obama, then it was Hillary Clinton, and then, so on and so forth, Trump, whatever. But the reality is, in Revelation 13, the Antichrist is the second so-called beast. That word in the Greek means therion. That's the word in the Greek. And I've read the New Testament over 20 times in the original language, and 2,000-year-old Greek, and parts of it many more times than that. Therion means wild animal. I mean, crudely, you could call it beast, but it can also mean monster or a supernatural entity. For instance, if you went back in the Greek theology and you went back to the Minotaur, okay, Minotaur, a man with the head of a bull and horns, was called Therion. Same thing with Medusa, this supposed mythological creature, a female with the body of a snake and the head of a face of a female with snakes coming out of her head, was called Therion. And also monsters were used back in Plato's day and before that, BC, used to describe monsters, giants, titans, you name it. So what I'm saying is, Therion has a lot of different applications, but 2,000 years ago, it didn't mean the same thing it means now. It could have a variety of meanings depending on the context. All right? So, Revelation 13, the second beast, not the first beast. Go read it. That chapter. The second beast in other places is also called the false prophet and the anti-Messiah. Okay? His identity is none other than Nimrod. In the Hebrew Genesis chapter 6, he's called Nimrud, which is also the name of the city that he founded. You can go research that. Nimrud. He founded the cities of Nimrud, Babylon, Erech, and Asher, okay? And his name is also called Asher in the Hebrew text of the Old Testament. Now, he's a descendant of the Nephilim. He is a Nephilim. And he is a spawn of the fallen angels that came down and cohabited with the daughters of men. Now you remember, before Noah, before the flood, God saw that all creation, all humankind had corrupted their way. Now, way can almost be constructed as genetic composition. So when a supernatural being cohabits with human beings, what happens? Well, their genetic makeup is corrupted. So what's also happened is these descendants of the Nephilim before the flood were wiped out. But if you'll go look at the words of Genesis 6, it talks about before the flood and afterward. And afterward. They cohabited with the daughters of men. In other words, sexual union, to produce an offspring that was not meant to be by our Creator, Yahweh, God, our Father. So after the flood, and if you look at Genesis chapter 10, it mentions Nimrod. He was a mighty one before the face of the Lord, most texts say. But what it actually means is he was a mighty hunter in the face. In other words, he was a rebel in the face of our Creator. In other words, he was defiant. He was an anti-Yahweh individual. Part angelic, fallen angelic, as far as the Father, and also part human. Now, these were called the giants of old, titans, where all the myths came from. And his name was Nimrud. And there's an ancient city named after him, Nimrud, in Babylon, and also other cities in the Near East. This person was endowed with understanding in magic arts, science, mathematics, chemistry, and also, most importantly, aspects of mind control, how to control other humans, which he innately knew as part supernatural being. What I'm talking about is alchemical. Now, alchemical means knowing how to use suggestion, mind control, and manipulative means to get others to do what you want them to do. And recent times, that's called mesmerism. It's called hypnotism. Using suggestive or controlling ideas, thoughts, processes, suggestions to get people to do what you wanted them to do. Now, this is very real, and it today is so much in your face mind control and controlling humans through thought, suggestion, ideas, and manipulation. It is insane. So what I'm telling you is this Antichrist that's coming, it's nothing new. It was part of the Babylonian system thousands of years ago. Now, this person, the second beast of Revelation 13, he is the anti-Messiah. There's an organization called CERN. Lots of you are aware of it. Where did CERN put their complex, their scientific research complex, that big circle that's many miles long, where do they put that in Europe? Go to Google Earth and type in the Temple of Apollyon, Apollyon, Temple of Apollyon. Just type it into Google Earth. Guess what comes up in Europe? CERN, capital CERN, CERN, because they put it on the site of the ancient temple of the destroyer. The destroyer. His name in the Greek, according to Revelation, is Apollyon. In the Hebrew, his name is Abaddon. Abaddon, the destroyer. There's truly nothing new under the sun, as Solomon says in Ecclesiastes, nothing new under the sun. Now, I'm going to give you some more info about this individual, but that's enough for tonight. I will let you know that CERN is trying, if they haven't already, to resurrect him from Sheol, the place of the dead. Look in the Gospel of Luke, where Abraham and the rich man were together down in Sheol. Sheol just simply means the underworld. It's also called in other cultures by different names, but it is the underworld, the abode of the dead. And Christ actually went down there after his death and burial, and before his resurrection, he went down to the spirits in prison, and he proclaimed the good news to them. This is where there are many, many people, perhaps most of the people in our history, and other beings, the Titans, Nimrod, Nephilim, are kept there in prison. But what CERN is trying to do is resurrect them for the last days. Now, that's enough for tonight. This is Matrix Reality. I'm out for tonight. Please share this information with other people, because the prophecies in the scriptures are coming true. They're going to happen, and people need to know about this. They need to know that supernatural events are coming soon. I'm out. See you next time.